A few other things happened though that we want to talk about. The first one is the sort of odd situation between Casillas and Puyol, which occurred on Twitter. I'm going to sum this up by telling people what happened if they don't know the story of what happened. This is what happened. On Twitter, Iker Casillas tweeted, "I hope you respect me. I'm gay. #Happy Sunday." Casillas then claimed his account was hacked later, but not before Carlos Puyol responded to him. I can't remember exactly what Puyol said, but it was something along the lines of, it's time to tell our secrets to the world.
Our story to the world. Yeah, there we go.
Now, Alex Kay-Jelksi, who's the editor of The Athletic, wrote an article about this over the weekend. And there was just something he said towards the end that I wanted to point out here. He said that the Casillas incident hurt a lot of people and will have done nothing to make LGBT plus people feel like they belong in football. It's worth pointing out that Casillas was apologetic, said his account had been hacked, and of course he was, apologizes to any harm done to LGBT plus people as a result of the tweet. But I think, JJ, it just sort of it's just another example of, it's an indication at least that sometimes within football culture, they still just don't quite get it. And also it feels like a step back after lots of positive stories so far in the last year.
Yeah, I think it's, there's a lot of footballers, whether they're pro elite level like these guys here, or even in Sunday League, who will take part in things which are supportive of gay footballers or anything like this, any sort of social cause, without actually understanding what it is they're doing. It looks good for them to sometimes be part of that bandwagon. So that's things like understanding the importance of what it is they're saying. These guys are doing it without understanding the effect they're having on kids, or not kids, and adults. Yeah. Like people who struggle to want to share who they are, or what I'm trying to say. It's I think misunderstanding the situation. It's
also the sad thing about it is then the responses to those initial tweets are kind of filled with the confusion in the first instance, because lots of people are being supportive of what they think is a statement being an accurate statement being made by Iker Casillas. There's also an awful lot of homophobia which then occurs in the replies to that tweet. So anybody who is reading that is going to suddenly just be exposed to all of this vile, horrible. And I don't know, I feel like it's just it's an example of maybe an area where just increased and more and repeated education around what is and isn't helpful. Because I don't speak to the intentions of Puyol or Iker Casillas. I don't know either of them or what either of them would have intended. To give people the benefit of the doubt and assume that they're not trying to upset anybody when they do something and maybe have unintentionally done that. Presumably, you could make an argument there to say that increased education around that would just prevent people from doing something like this, which, as Alex says, does.
But then they're grown adults, so they're 40 years old. It's not like a teenager making a mistake that they can learn from and get better. I mean, everyone can learn at whatever age. You can learn and move on from that. But these are people who should realise what they represent and how well seen they are in the world.
Sure.
And the damage that can cause by trying to make jokes about that on that platform. You should just know not to do that.
Yeah.
Because it'd be very upsetting to people who then suddenly don't feel like they belong or aren't welcome because it's still a joke.
Sure. Well, worth highlighting again, the positive stories that we've heard over the last year. Josh Carvalho in Australia coming out, Jake Daniels as well, plus the 2 or 3 referees in Scotland. Hopefully these sorts of incidents don't put a halt on that happening or people feeling that they're able to come out. But we wanted to talk about it anyway because it just feels like an unnecessary misstep and an unnecessary hurt caused there.
If you like this video, please consider subscribing to the channel. The Athletic is home to some of the world's best sports journalists, including David Ornstein, Daniel Taylor, Ollie Kay, Amy Lawrence and Rafa Honigstein. There are journalists dedicated to each Premier League team, so every fan gets the coverage they deserve, not just the big clubs. And you can try it for free now for 30 days. See the link in the description.